My big suggestion to students, particularly through high school, is
you can do anything.
Choose it for you, not for it is worth
it. Just focus on the next step.
Doesn't matter what you're doing.
Don't be afraid.
As long as you're doing something.
That is such good advice.
I don't think I could see myself doing
It's
anything
a challenging life.
Student nights, Wednesday to Saturday.
I worked on that house.
I racked up every single dollar of debt that I
I
possibly
think
could.
there's a lot of pressure on high school.
Yeah, I
kids
just
these days,
love working outside.
And if money is something that you care a lot
In
about.
hindsight,
I've also been a very indecisive
But you
person.
keep looking for roads that have been less
It
travelled.
was just that moment that I knew what I wanted to do. So nothing else is going to change that.
Welcome to the guest speaker.
Yeah, look, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome Haylee Palmer, Promotions and Integration Coordinator at Mediaworks Tauranga, to the Guest Speaker podcast today. Haylee, thank you so much for being here and for generously sort of showing up and being willing to share your journey and your story with us. In your role, you work across on-air, digital and live platforms, collaborating with clients, announcers and internal teams to bring campaigns to life in one of New Zealand's most dynamic industries. It's a position that blends creativity, coordination, strategy and community connection. And it gives you a unique perspective on how the media industry really works behind the scenes. Today, you're here to really share that insight with us, and so we can develop a better understanding of the career paths in that industry. What makes your journey particularly relevant is that it wasn't perfectly mapped out from the start, and that's that message students need to hear. You went to Tauranga Girls College, chose a range of subjects, worked part-time at a local cinema, and focused on enjoying life. That'll resonate with many, many kids. There was nothing special necessarily about what you did or a strategy you had. You had that cinema job, and I think that's where, which I presume was just simply there to earn money, but that ended up opening up unexpected doors through friendships, networks, and experiences that quietly shaped your future. In 2021, you moved to Hamilton to study a Bachelor of Communications at the University of Waikato, majoring in public relations with a minor in project management. I still remember I walked into a packed communications lecture theatre myself at Victoria, and even though that was a long time ago, it spoke volumes about how popular it was even back in the 1990s. Your degree clearly provided you with practical creative skills, which we'll explore today. A catch up with a friend from your cinema that I mentioned earlier then led to casual promotions work with the media company NZME, which is New Zealand Media and Entertainment, giving you invaluable hands-on experience while you were still studying. Even when a full-time role didn't immediately follow graduation, you stayed proactive, continuing to build your skills, strengthen your networks, and remain connected to that industry. Today, you're thriving in radio broadcasting, part of an industry that employs around 2,250 people across New Zealand. And your story shows how powerful it can be to combine your qualifications with real-world experience, initiative, and relationships. Your journey is incredibly relevant to students interested in media, business, marketing, communications, and especially for anyone figuring out their next step. You're proof that you don't need anything mapped out to move forward. It's about saying yes to opportunities. It's about building connections, trusting each experience. They may be leading somewhere. And I think you trusted in that. It's really good to have you here, Haylee. Thank you so much, I say again. Yeah, this more normal life I pictured early on in that introduction. How did you find your education? What were you good at? What were you not good at? And how did it maybe help you in the future?
So starting off on my educational journey, I went to Green Park Primary School, which was a school of about 900 kids. And that is a pretty big school for ages between 5 and 12. You've got lots of different people, diversity, different needs and wants, and big personalities who want to be in leadership or just hide behind. I've always been what I call a floater. Like, I know what I know what I want and I know what I don't want. I'm always in the middle, just doing me. And that was exactly the same from primary school, and it's just shown throughout my whole life. And then I went to Tauranga Intermediate, which is even a bigger school. I think there was 12,000 students there at the time, and that's only across 2 years. And then yes, Tauranga Girls. Throughout my whole schooling, my whole philosophy, I guess, and what my parents put to me was enjoy it. You're only in school for 13 years of your life, it feels like a really long time, but once you're out, it's not. Just enjoy it. Do what makes you happy. Do whatever you want. And I think that's just what's carried me through. I've done everything and anything that I could dream of with the sport behind me. So I think that was a really big part of why I had no strategy or why I had no direction so early on and going into further education and then going into finding a job.
Your parents are really championing just enjoy, which I mean, great. I bet you there's a lot of kids sitting here now going, God, I wish mum and dad were like that. So what did that mean for you though? Because for me, that might have meant something completely different. What did that mean? What did you get into that was so you? Was it arts? Was it sport? Was it leadership? Was it what subjects?
Everything. Like, I look at schooling and the experience I had is such a broad spectrum of things going into the arts. I used to do dance. I used to do rock climbing, squash, guitar, after school art classes, tennis, like volleyball, just sports, arts, leadership. I was part of the leadership committee in my year 6 class, like just random little things that I thought I'd be remotely interested in, and I just did them. Later on into high school, I also went on Spirit of Adventure.
I know what Spirit of Adventure is. I'm sure a lot of Kiwis do. But for those who don't, can you explain a bit about what that experience was?
So Spirit of Adventure is either 5-day voyage with 9 others from your school or a 10-day voyage with 39 strangers. I went on both, but it's pretty much a boat. You live on it, you do leadership activities, you run the ship for a day, you do trophy games, navigation, but it's an opportunity for kids to disconnect because you're not allowed your phones and meet new people that you wouldn't usually, I guess, gravitate towards, I suppose.
Do you pay for it or do you apply for it?
So you can either apply for it and get a scholarship, or somebody can put you forward as a nominee, I believe. First year I was sponsored by somebody close to me, very generously, and then the second time round I fundraised to go myself.
Cool. And
Yeah.
you'd highly recommend it.
Highly recommend it. It changed everything for me. They do amazing things for Kiwi kids. And they even have adult voyages. So if there's any parents that are listening.
And so how did you go academically? Because eventually people have already worked out you're going to be a university kid. You didn't go trades. You didn't go elsewhere. You're going to go uni. But how were you academically? What were the subjects you thrived in or even struggled with? How did you manage the academic side of your schooling?
Yeah, so in high school, I took English, maths, and science all the way through. Science I dropped in year 11, actually thinking about it now. And for electives, I did geography, highly recommend, photography, tourism, business studies, of course. So yes, I did those throughout high school, and I passed. I was I was never amazing at my schoolwork. I was more interested in just having a laugh and getting through. In all honesty, I never put too much pressure on myself to do super well. But at the same time, I knew that I needed to do well to get to where I thought I wanted to go, which was university. So from probably about year 11, I already knew that I wanted to go to university, just not sure what. So yeah, I knew I had to do well to make sure that across the board I would be fine in whatever I decided to choose. That was kind of the beauty of not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, because it meant that I, across the board, just did well and put the effort in to everything rather than having that specific focus.
What do you think pointed you to tertiary study? Did you have that tradition in your family? Were there friends doing it? Because there'll be a lot of kids here resonating with you now because they're going, actually, I get a few merits. I'm not going to pretend that I'm this person or that. I'm down the middle maybe, but I work hard. And that's a really good sign that university is still you don't have to be a high flyer. So yeah, where did that idea come from? What caused you to go there?
Something that anybody in my family really pushed me to do or expected me to do or anything. My dad's sisters went to university. Nobody on my mum's side of the family had gone. Any of my older cousins hadn't. It wasn't until my older sister started looking into universities when she's 2 years older than me. So it would have been the end of my year 10, year 11, start of year 11 when she started looking. And it was when I was having those conversations with her, I was like, this is something that I could see myself going to do. And when I when I put my mind to an idea, I usually stick with it. And I didn't really explore too many options after deciding that university was something that I was wanting to head towards. I think also further down the line, it made it a little bit easier because when COVID came along, the world shut down on my last year of year 13, last year of school, year 13. And we couldn't go anywhere else or do anything. So I was like, well, I wanted to go to university anyway. So there was nothing too specific other than conversations with my sister.
Did you consider other universities? Did you go halls and how did just that whole and so now transferring into Waikato, maybe even looking at how did you pay for it? Where did you stay and did you consider other universities or did that have your degree you wanted by that point?
Yeah, so I looked at Canterbury and Waikato and ultimately decided that Hamilton was closer. My sister was there. That's where one of my dad's sisters actually went as well. So I had that little bit of a tie to it without really realizing it until later down the track. Applied for halls, got into my preferred one, which was College Hall, moved into there 5 years ago, like as of this week, which is crazy to think about. And then from there ended up going flatting and paid for it through savings that I had from my part-time cinema job and student loan. Student loans aren't as scary as everybody says they are. I'm just going to say that quickly. Don't fear your further education because of a loan. It is repayable. It's interest free if you stay in New Zealand, and it just comes off your paycheck. You won't fully notice it, but yeah, don't be scared of getting a loan out. Because I was, and yeah, that is advice I wish I had. And then throughout uni, I came back during the holidays. I didn't want to put too much stress on working throughout the semesters because I really wanted to enjoy it and put my all into figuring out my first year ultimately and navigating living out of home and learning how to finance my life and what I need money for and what I didn't need money for. Don't buy so many clothes is what I tell first year Haylee. But yeah, it was a decision that wasn't hard for me to make. And I think moving out of home was the best thing that I did for myself because it was just time.
If I go back to mentioning you got a Bachelor of Communications, majoring in public relations and project management, there may be kids now going, I want to do that. What is it? What do you learn about? Can you encapsulate that for us, that degree of learning skills and knowledge that would encompass?
Yeah, for sure. I didn't actually know what public relations was until I was researching what I actually wanted to go do. And that was like probably a year before I actually went to university. And what I read about it was very different to actually going and studying it. A lot of what we focused on in the first year was media, businesses, or how newspapers were written, politics, tone of voice, it was focused on like the fundamental parts of effectively communicating and the way people want to be perceived, businesses want to be perceived. Thinking back to it is really, really interesting because of what I know now and being in the media industry now. I didn't realize how important those papers were at the start, but it pretty much just encapsulates everybody's got their own personal brand. It's not marketing, it's how you put yourself forward and how others perceive you, which is a really interesting thing when you're trying to find out who you are, what you like, what you don't like outside of a school environment and going into a professional environment and then trying to apply that to business and media and the wider world around you, politics, that kind of thing. It kind of opens your eyes to so much more than what you expect. Think about Taylor Swift and Harry Styles. This is how I think about it. This is how I'm going to explain it. People want to talk about them. People want to know what's going on, and them being in a relationship a couple years ago sparked interest in the media and people started talking about them, and it drew more attention to what they were doing. And that's exactly what PR is. Like a PR stunt is pretty much what you do to get a reaction to change the way people perceive you.
Ludlam and I have spoken. This is like a different example of PR. It's like personal branding. Everyone has a personal brand, whether we like it or not. It's 2026. People just do or don't care about it. So I think what you do, and I'm in marketing too, so what I do is like we leverage that, but everyone has one. Maybe just historically, parents or Kiwis call it something different, you know, reputation or whatever else they might say. Like, you know, they've got a name around town. That's one that you hear your parents saying a lot. It's leveraging that. And here's a silly one, but I just think listeners will find it interesting. It's like sometimes when celebrities, like, not to name names, but some have such bad reputation, such bad personal branding, but when they do or say something horrific, no one's surprised. But then if someone like Taylor Swift, Harry Styles did even a fraction of that, it would be like headline news. So sometimes in more politicians, people are like, oh, that's just who they are. And the shock value comes up. But when you've really taken good care of it, and I'm sure that's what you're doing with brands and stuff, that's when certain brands will be like, I don't want to do a partnership with you because you're going to impact our brand. Like, it's public perception. And once something's out there, it's super hard to correct, which is why people like you need to do like what you're doing in general, because it really is it's like a foundation of society that people don't realize.
So much behind the scenes of masterminds just having different roles to play and reputation, and that's that's what first year is really all about. Making sure that people understand that, because if you don't teach that first off the bat, then you're going to get to the end of it and people aren't particularly going to want to
Yeah.
So you, Haylee, you would learn about influence, persuasion, how people are seen and thought of, how to change that or accentuate that, and then leading towards eventually, I suppose, in the media, where if someone comes to your work and says, I'm going to advertise on radio, if I'm jumping ahead, and I've got this product, you guys are putting your heads together to go, right, I'm going to take all the stuff I know and I think the way forward is this, whether that be something shocking or something very mainstream or something completely different. Is that starting to get to where you're at?
Yeah. So it's a lot to do with strategy, and you don't really realize how much strategizing you actually do behind the scenes until you sit there and you look at it, because it becomes second nature so quickly. And I think it's really important to take that step back, look at all the puzzle pieces and put them together to make them make sense and make them tell a story, and make sure everybody is represented in an equal way.
So did when you start broad at uni for that degree, where did you end sort of at the final years? What was your sort of study like more towards that pyramid at your third year, was it, or fourth year?
So in our final year, we had a capstone paper which brought everything together, a final campaign that represented a company and to give them positive media attention. So we had to think of their brand. We also had to think what aligned with their target audience and how public perception of the service that we were providing the campaign for would change or benefit from the campaign we were putting forward.
You culminate with that last year, and you're given. So I'm looking now. What I wrote was real practical applications. They are testing. You've learned theory, but now you're actually starting to, like you said, design campaigns, come up with a strategy, which will resonate with a lot of people. That's not what you need. That's sort of a polytech thing. It's creation. That's why this would be quite cool.
Yeah, so it's very hands-on. We had to make that campaign for a service and take everything that we learned throughout our degree and apply it to this campaign for their reputation and positive PR and what we can do to change people's perceptions.
So after you've done this communications degree, marketing, etc., where do most kids go? Like, obviously, we're about to talk about where you went. Can you broadly are you able to give us an example where, I had a friend go this way? Is it quite broad, or did they all end up in radio?
Very broad. I
Okay.
think I'm the only one that's ended up in radio. I know people who've gone into PR companies doing a lot of work with influencers and brands. People who've gone into government. I know people that are PAs for some MPs, which is very interesting work I've heard. Communications advisors in government agencies or councils. People who've gone into design and marketing, account managers and sales. Goodness, I'm trying to think of everyone, and everybody's everywhere.
So that they are leading into some really cool careers.
Very cool, very fun, creative, very much tailored to what everybody was somewhat interested throughout study. Really, it was cool to see where everybody ended up and seeing how aligned they were with the company that they ended up in so early on in their careers.
Yeah.
I think they want it because people think, oh, communication's so broad, or communications that's just a fancy word for talking. It's so much more than that. PR is so much more than just media. It's
Yeah.
Oh, Haylee, something because I studied communications. I started with that because I studied a few things. I'm like you. I was another knows that I love when we get someone like you because I'm like, yeah, we try. I had to do the reframe or the branding where I was like, oh, I'm not committed to anything, and then someone said like, no, you're just experiencing multiple things and then picking, and I was like, no, that's marketing. I love that that reframe. But with communications, I remember when I started, there was and I can speak for myself, there was a bit of a bias that like, it's what you do when you don't know what you want to do. And my sister actually was like, well, if that's the case, then you're going to really excel because you want to do it, right? So if there are some people who are in there who are just doing it because they don't know, then that's like a more opportunity for you to go in and make a real difference. So I don't know what your experience with that was, but I definitely had that a little bit where people were like, I felt like, oh, this is a degree for people who like to chat and have fun.
Yeah. I definitely got a few looks when I said that I was gonna go do communications because they were like, "What does that even lead to? What do you actually want to do?" It's like, why do I have to know what I want to do at the end for it to be meaningful?
Yeah.
I'm paying, I'm learning, I'll get something out of it eventually, no matter what it is. And with it being so broad, I could go off and do whatever I wanted and it would have been relevant. like as we'll probably get into further down the track, I finished uni and then didn't have a job for a whole year, and I was bouncing between different things. And even though it had nothing really specifically to do with my degree was so beneficial in so many different ways. So I think that's the important thing. You don't have to use your degree right after that as well.
If you don't know what you want to do, but you pick engineering, you can't really pivot after that. But if you do communication, like that's only ever valuable in any field. Like Ludlam is an educator, he has to communicate. Like it's at the base of every single industry. So I think that's a huge we're advocating for that here, is it's going to serve you in ways you don't even know it will serve you.
Yeah.
Yeah, can I just ask you, Haylee, but there'll be a lot of people looking at Mediaworks. We all hear this term. How did you get the job, and what do you do, and what's it like?
So I used to work for the competitor, NZME, for a year and a half, and was doing activations and events with them, and it really aligned with my communications degree and representing a brand. And I pushed for an internship when I was there, but unfortunately they didn't have the capacity to take me on, which fair enough. And then I've really struggled to find a job, and was still living in Hamilton at the time, paying rent over there, and it just got a bit too much. So I decided to pack up my stuff and move back to my home in Tauranga and go from there and search countrywide, not have any ties to anywhere. And it was within a week of actually being back in Tauranga that the Mediaworks job came up. I applied for it within the first day of the job opening.
Not looking desperate or anything?
Not at all. No, not me. And then a couple days later, I got a call asking if I was available for a phone interview. It was a phone screening interview in a Pack and Save car park. Made my partner go for a walk while I took the call, and then they said, we'll get back to you once you get back from your holiday. It's awesome. So I spent the whole holiday stressing. 2 days after I got back, I had an interview with my now manager, and it was just a general chit chat, and I thought it went really well, and I was like, surely that's one interview and then done. Nope. I get a call saying that I'm going to send you through a brief, and you're going to have to come up with a campaign, and you have to present it to us as if we were the client. I'm very glad my presentation skills from uni carried me through. I made a pretty presentation. I wrote a report, went above and beyond, and ended up presenting to my manager and our beautiful promos head of the department at the time. And within 2 days, my references were checked, and I got the job and started 2 weeks after that. Within my first day, I sold my first promo. So what we do in my role is we put together promotional campaigns for clients based on event or a product that they have, or just wanting to give something away to make their business look great, essentially. So we write the concept out, what brands are going to be involved, what messaging we can provide across what platforms. So whether that's on air, on social media, digital through our Rover webpage and app. And we also do on-site activations where we send brand ambassadors out and station branded t-shirts, and they go to events and pop up a gazebo and flags and a PA, and sometimes we do spin to wins or treasure hunts or just giving away product for people to try. Either our sales team come to us with clients that want an activation or promotion, or we do proactive proposals where we think of an idea, we write them up, and we send them to our sales team to go out to sell to clients. the one that I did on my first day was a brief that was put through from an account manager for a event that wanted to be promoted. So we did two phases. We can do them in phases. So phase 1 being like a lead in, phase 2 being the event or activation itself. So we did a 2-phase one, and it was for Racing Tauranga, Edge on the Lawn. So Edge, because their target market was females and males between the ages of 25 and 35, we were like, right, that's the Edge demographic. Perfect. They want to have fun activation. So we were like, okay, we'll do a photo booth. We'll send our team out. We'll put exclusive tickets up for this Edge on the Lawn. Encourage people to tag their mates on social media to win a double pass to go to the races and go on to the exclusive area kind of thing.
And they're coming to you and paying you money to get the message out. Was that?
Yes. So we work across Breeze, More FM, The Edge, The Rock, The Sound, Channel X, Breeze Classic, and George FM across Tauranga. So we look after Tauranga. And recently, example, was we had Fisher. He's an international DJ, if you didn't know. And we did a lot of work around driving ticket purchases and different experiences. And we did a ticket dash, find the Fisher, or catch the fish, actually. It's catch the fish. And we put a story up of it. And this is where we are. Come find us, and you win fish tickets. You can catch fish. And it created a buzz, and people were like, oh my gosh, I need to get tickets. And that pushing that messaging that fish is coming, get your tickets. We also have your exclusive chance to win tickets. Find us. Brings a different kind of energy to then just being like, tag somebody on Facebook for your chance to win. Where you do a whole bunch of different activations or social media posts, or just being out and about and getting people to come find you. Give it that hype.
I'm picturing it comes in, there's a group of you, or is it you personally going and they go, Haylee, this is your one, or are you in a group of collaborators and chucking ideas?
So in the Tauranga promotional team, it is myself and my manager, Matt, who is also an on-air host. And then we also, there's, I believe, 24 different Mediaworks markets that have promotional people. A lot of us are in pairs of 2. Unless you're a smaller market, you have just 1. Or if you're a metro, which is Auckland, Wellington, and Christchurch, they have about 3, 4. And then each station has their own promos person as well, and promos manager. So there are a lot of us, but we focus on our regions mostly. And then we lean on each other when we need a hand. So I work really closely with Rotorua and Hamilton because it's in close proximity, and we do similar promos, and a lot of the time it reaches to those different regions as well. But for the most part, it is just my manager and I.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to get a view of your week and your day and your year. You sit there, you turn up each day, and there's probably a new thing, or could it take weeks to create an activation? Some days, other times months, and they just keep coming?
So it's a really interesting one because no 2 days are the same. As you can probably tell by this, I'm a pretty chaotic person, and my life is just as chaotic with so many different things going on. There are things that we can turn around in a matter of 2 days. There are things that take a month and a half to plan. Sometimes we're planning things 2 quarters in advance, half a year in advance, 3 quarters in advance. It is nothing. Nothing is the same. No 2 things are the same. Everything is different. You can do one thing for one client and then turn around and try to recreate a similar thing, but you're never going to be able to do things the exact same way, and you've got to be really adaptable not only putting on different brand hats, that's what I call them. Like, oh, I've got to put on my More FM hat. Got to think of what that listener looks like, how they would like to be targeted, what resonates with them the most, how do we reach them, how do we make this memorable for them. And then I turn around and go put on my edge hat, and I'm like, okay, this person is chronically online and loves Turtle Island and is me as a person. So let's talk to them. And it's very much doing one thing and then another thing, and it's a lot. It's a lot of fun though because you're never bored.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because you semi-challenge your own personality. You're like going, I'm all over the place. But in fact, that is the personality. Because someone like me who wants order and structure, and then something flies in from one side, I can't handle that. So in fact,
Yeah.
your personality for someone sitting there and they've listened to this podcast and they might have said at one point, "God, she's headed in this direction. Now she's over." That is actually your job to pivot, change. Yeah, I think that's gold. Can I ask you, how do you measure success? Does someone come out and go, that activation or that series of adverts you did were genius? Is that a perception, or is it measured on money or ticket sales, or who tells you what is a measurable success?
So the way that we pretty much sum up the end of a promo is through a post analysis where we see what we've delivered. We got the photos of people with the product or engaging with the brand, or the insights from Facebook and Meta and behind the scenes side of things, feedback that we've received, if it's positive, if it's negative, and then we send that off to the client to go, this is how your campaign went, this is how much value you received, these are the photos, these are the feedback, here is all the assets that we created for it, even though they get those at the start, but they also get them at the end for a reminder of this is what we've used to promote your product, your event, your service. And then we go back behind the scenes and go, what actually went well? Like, how can we improve for something else? And I think for us, between Matt and I, we kind of sit there and we know if we've done a successful job. And more times than not, we have. And we know how to make it better for next time. It's not really necessarily a monetary value because I don't think you could fully measure the success of a promotion based off the activity that you do for 2 weeks, because it's all about that lasting impression that you have. You could do something with a client, say in summer, but when they go to look for your a service similar to yours in winter, they may remember an activation or an interaction they had with one of our promotional people that was like broadcasting your services, or heard an ad, or heard that they were doing something good in the community. And so say you need to get your tires done, and we did something with a tire company in summer, like we're giving away tires for you to be safe for your summer road trip. Somebody in summer might not need those tires now, but further down the track in winter, they could go, oh, I saw them do something with the edge. How cool is that? I'll go to them. It's all about not only the alignment for the client and the brand, but how a customer perceives them as well and perceives our partnership, I guess you could say.
To jump in there, it's like there's the old school way of thinking was marketing was like 9 points of communication. So you hear the radio, see a billboard, do this. Like obviously with social media, it's all out of sorts. That no longer works. But you're so right. Like people, the tire example is perfect. They don't need tires now, but later they'll think of it and they'll be like, oh, of course. Or even building that brand awareness, other terms maybe people aren't familiar with, but should be if they want to do communications, is like are there certain brands, Chemist Warehouse? Love Chemist Warehouse,
Yeah.
sure. There's always a sale. You don't go there for the top quality necessarily stuff. You go there because like they've built their brand of like bright yellow, red sale. Whereas I don't know if the shoe Hoka is as popular in New Zealand, but there's my favorite running shoe. It's never on sale because
No.
that whole thing you talk about building brand reputation over a long time, they're saying like, hey, our shoes aren't on sale because we're not that kind of brand. Like comparing to Chemist Warehouse, obviously still love it in a different way. But maybe if people are thinking, these are these examples you're talking of so well, Haylee, of like people masterminding in your position are helping to build your perception of a brand or a business or a person, and like the impact that we don't even realize we have as in the communications role is like, it's so sneaky. But I think that's such a good example. And you say like measuring the impact though in the business side is definitely harder to communicate why you're valuable, because a lot of people don't understand it.
Trying to prove that you've got some worth or some value behind you, and having numbers that represent that it almost feels wrong in a way.
Yeah.
Because we have to put a value on every promotion that we sell, and putting a number value on that, you can't even, it's not a guarantee. Building, as you said, building that brand like Hoka, like everybody knows who they are because they're reliable, they're trustworthy, they align themselves. Like if they are going to do anything, they're going to align themselves with people that align with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. And for a lot of big businesses too, they've already got their name. They just have to stay in front of people, don't they? It doesn't need to be anything incredible. They just need to make sure every 3 to 4 months they're in front. It's interesting because one classic study, when we used to visit Grace Cane, we went to Craggy Range, the vineyard, and they did a promotional thing. And what they realized, they sold more wine when they put their price up. And so it's not always what you think. So when someone can actually, when they went to the marketing people and went, we've got this wonderful product, and they go, put your price up, you'll sell more, don't compete with the supermarket. Some really clever things. I always remember, you guys talk tires. There was this ad campaign as a kid. It was, they pumped wet roads dry. And for some reason, as a kid, I remember this and it was just the car pouring with rain, but in behind the car, the road was dead dry. And I don't know why it resonated with me, but you can almost picture in the wet, dangerous, icy conditions, I'm going to crash, oh my goodness, but these tires were that good. Where do I remember it? But there you go, whoever that person was, they're a genius. Can I ask you, Haylee, what's your future? Are you happy where you are? Are there things you want to do? Yeah. Can you just talk us through that?
Yeah, I love where I've got to. I sit at my desk most days and go, how have I actually got here? And coming on this and having to think about the different things that have led me to where I am is just crazy to think about. But once again, I don't really have a set direction on where I want to go and what I want to do. What I keep saying is I'm happy where I am. I'm so, so grateful for the team around me. Like it's just Matt and I in promotions, but I've got an epic office full of amazing people. Like there's no reason for me to want to move. I would probably, next steps would to go into my manager's role if he ever decided to hang up his shoes. Don't think he will. I hope not. I don't know what I'd do without him at the moment, but that's fine. But yeah, I've got such a good support network of people around me that if I all of a sudden decided I knew what I wanted to go to next, they would either encourage me to go or help me to get there. So yeah. It's really, really a beautiful thing. People's connections are so important wherever you go.
Yeah. Hey, look, I think you've really hit the nail on the head today. Look, I go back to the start of your story, the type of kid you were, and how we described this, and you just said I was in arts, I was in PE, and I was playing games, and I did whatever the subjects I liked. But I think that's exactly your personality, and the job necessitates it. So I just think that's gold. I want to shout out to your parents, because obviously that attitude they had where you go to school to have fun, you do the things you want. I think that served you really well. Obviously, Waikato with your studies has been fantastic for you. Even back to Tauranga Girls, giving you those opportunities. It's a great school. One of our ex-DPs was there. I think she was principal, actually. Tara. Don't know whether she's still there. Tara Kanji,
Yeah.
And obviously Mediaworks, because to have someone like you at your age turn up and speak about your employer like you have and the person you work alongside, that's not easy, because young people are hard to please. And the fact you get up each day, you feel privileged. I just want to put a shout out to them. So kids sitting there, again, if they resonate with that story and the sort of human you are, and even if they, like you said, you bounced off the wall a little bit, this is a career for you, because you've got to be able to do it. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I know Grace will have some questions to finish, but that's a really cool insight into your business. Wicked.
I do have a sign-off question, but before, you can tell how excited I am hearing you, because communications, we're preaching it again. It's like there's so many avenues you can go down. Like you were even describing ways that you showed the campaign was successful. Like that's community management, if people have heard that term. Where brands, like that's the people, and I've done it where you're in the DMs responding as Manuka Doctor. Like, you're them. There's also partnerships in terms of like influencers, micro, macro. Like there's so many different avenues. You could go really in-house PR or agency. I'm agency stuff. Like, or you do promotions where you're actually in the community. Like so many. And so before the sign-off question, I was wondering, you're in Tauranga, and you went to Waikato. I went to AUT when I was studying in New Zealand. Is there any, like, what's your thoughts there on like the different unis? Had you gone to Auckland, would that have been different? Like, what do you think?
So, as I said earlier on about, I kind of set myself up only looking at Canterbury or Waikato.
Yeah.
Once I got to uni and started talking to different people, even when I got out of uni and started just talking to people in similar job to me, I didn't realize there's so many different avenues that you can go down. Yeah, as you said, AUT, that was one that I didn't even know about. Wintech. There's also the New Zealand Broadcasting School. My intern last year, he went there and is now in same position as me up in Northland. There are so many different avenues to go down to get to where you are. My mate Max, who works with me, he is our on-air announcer. He didn't study at all, and he's in radio. He grew up in Rotorua and decided that radio was for him, and he made those connections and worked as a casual for our brands, said that he was interested in learning radio, and from there he got that experience, picked up those extra shifts or went in on the weekends and learned from those people around him. There are so many different ways of getting into media and radio. It doesn't have to be university. It could be, Polytech. It could be just learning on the job. It's just reaching out to those people around you. It's all about the people, So yeah.
It is even you saying that it's about the people. I had exposure therapy when I went to AUT because I did the phones. I was like, hi, I was doing the radio surveys. Hi, are you aged between 65 and it was always the above 65s that wanted to chat. But the people under 65 were like, delete my number. Where'd this come from? Yeah, the nice. Yeah, so I was like, but even that was experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Sign off question. Yeah, no, sign off question is if you could go back to yourself in year 12 or 13, so not everyone, just you to you, what advice would you be giving yourself?
I could go back. I feel like, what are you doing?
is there something you maybe needed to hear? Was there something that, if you thought, were you confident, did you need to put your chin up? Was there a piece of advice if you looked back on it and went, well, Haylee just needed to hear this, or?
It's not that deep. It's never that deep. Just
That's the
what
advice.
you be and just go through the motions. You're gonna go through times where it's just you don't want to do it, but at the end of the day, it's not that deep. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So that's
And
probably what I'd
that's
say.
interesting. If we finish it there, Haylee, that's exactly how I introduced you. I said you kept moving forward. You didn't necessarily have a plan, but you're the sort of human who puts the smile on the face, gets out of bed, and off you go. And it's really worked for you. So look, congratulations on your career and your studies, and thank you so much for sharing with us. And so kids can get an insight into that industry. It'll be a really popular one. So yeah, thank you very much.
I would also like to say, if anybody has any questions about radio or media or communications, reach out. It is about the connections of the people, as I
Yeah.
said. I'm always happy to answer any questions, and if I can't answer them, somebody I know will be able to. So don't be afraid to. Even if you drop it in the DMs of the guest speaker, I'm sure it'll be passed on. It will,
Yeah.
but
Wicked.
good luck. That's all I'll say.